You're listening to The Arms Room on the Vets on Media Network.
My mic's not on. There we go. You're on The Arms Room. You give me the hand signal, and then you fake me out. All right. Our music is still on. You know, I never really get to hear this whole song ever. I always just hear the first, 10 seconds of it. All right, you're on The Arms Room with Glenn.
And Matt.
Oh, Matt's mic's no. What's going on, dude? We get a holiday, and Adam.
Come on, Adam. Testing.
Jiminy Christ.
Sorry.
Testing.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Is it still working?
We're good now.
Yeah.
We're good.
You got to face the mic in order to,
What?
Yeah.
So how's your weekend there, Adam?
Hey. It's been good. Low key. Went to church yesterday. That's about it. Nothing. I cleaned. Nothing exciting. I wish I could lie to you and say something, but I couldn't even do that.
He went to church and he cleaned his apartment. Ladies, Adam Bird is single.
No, listen.
How is this man still single?
I've become very domesticated in the last 10 years.
He has the softest hands I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So,
They're soft and supple.
feel free to call in.
Yeah.
602-399-7787.
He is taking applications, ladies.
He owns his own business. He cleans his own apartment, and he does go to church, ladies. He's single. He's strapping. He works out. He eats clean.
I don't know about that.
Dude, you got to lie a little bit, Adam. Come on.
Yeah.
All right, so how about you, Matt? What did you do this weekend?
What did I do this weekend? Moved some of my stuff. Started school, so that's different.
Back
Getting
to
school stuff together.
Back to school.
It's
to show my friends I'm not a fool.
No, it's cool. Like my professor, I'm going to community college and then transferring to ASU. But I have these really small classes, and every single instructor is like a legit PhD in their field. So that's pretty cool. So I was just doing a little homework, and then nothing productive. Nothing really productive.
You're getting a degree in women's history, right?
Yes.
Perfect.
Actually, I go to the Academy of Scuba,
Right.
and so I'm studying underwater liberal arts.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's going to be a useful degree.
Yeah, finding laminated and waterproof T84 calculators for underwater calculus, surprisingly challenging.
Oh, man.
What about you, Glenn? How was your weekend?
My weekend was interesting.
Yeah?
It was, because my family got sick the end of last week with the stomach flu, and they're all barfing all over the place. And I did not. I was not sick, and I was so happy, and I was making fun of my children and my wife and how terrible. Ha ha, you are sick, and I am not. And then about 4 p.m. on Friday, I'm like, I'm not feeling so good.
Karma's a bitch.
But I got this softball game Friday night, right? So I have to go play. I'm feeling really bad. So I go play, and I did really well, actually. I'm a pretty good player anyways, but I did really great. I was hitting really, really well, but I was super sick.
Actually making contact with the ball.
Yeah, normally I'm
it's great when
swing and a miss.
It's great when you're playing against elementary kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Found that loophole in the district
Dude,
policy.
winning at all cost is the name of that game.
Those kids are learning a valuable life lesson.
Yeah, dude. So what if I push him over as I run by?
Who cares? Builds character.
So I come home from softball, and I'm really sick, but I haven't barfed yet, right? So I have a trick I discovered. If you have to barf, I've tried gagging myself before. That doesn't work. I can't ever.
Was it on a chocolate banana?
Knew I shouldn't have told you that story. So what I did is I'm laying in bed. I'm feeling so sick, and I have to teach Saturday and Sunday. I got a 2-day carving class I'm teaching out in the sun and everything. I'm like, I gotta get rid of this. I gotta purge. And so I just start thinking. I'm laying there in bed thinking of all the nastiest stuff I have ever seen in my life, and it worked. I threw up so hard and so long that my heart hurt. Right? That's how much I threw up. It hurt my chest. My whole heart was painful.
Aww.
I couldn't breathe, But then it worked, and then I was purged. I was done. I slept. I had really weird dreams, but I woke up and taught a 2-day carbine class Saturday and Sunday. Still kind of a little under the weather on Saturday, but didn't throw up anymore, so I was fine. John came out and helped me teach Saturday, and then shot through Sunday. Had a great time. Had some really, really great students out there. And I'll tell you what, Saturday in our defensive carbine class, we had a 78-year-old student.
Wow.
Dang.
So when people, and he ran all of our exercises, the ones that involve even running. He was in there, man. I mean, so when people tell me, try to give me excuses about, oh, I can't train, most of the people in there, our average student base, mid-20s to mid-30s, everybody there pretty much fit into that. We had some maybe in their 40s or whatever.
All
this
type
guy,
of people go to these courses.
78, dude. You know what I mean? If you're looking for an excuse to train, you're out. You're out of excuses. Stop making them.
How many soccer moms have we seen come through the courses?
Soccer moms, amputees, even non-war related amputees. Gives amputees from all kinds of things that happen in life, So yeah, no excuses. No excuses for not training. Yesterday had a great day. Trained. Got to hang out with some friends afterwards. Have a good time. This morning went out dove hunting with a couple friends and my son. Had a great time. At first, I was not having a good day, and I thought maybe I was shooting less lethal rounds or beanbags, salt, bird bombs, blanks. I don't know. I just swore a few I was shooting blanks at. But then I did great. I actually was fine. 10. Ended up getting 10 birds myself. Out of 15 is the limit now for dove. They raised the limit in Arizona to 15, so that was great. And came pretty close. But then I had to come to the show, so I had to stop killing.
Get some on the way back.
Yeah, get some on the way home. But yeah, it was a good day. Good day. So we got to talk about some interesting things.
Yes, we do.
We can't have our show without talking about that Uzi incident.
Yeah, it's a given.
So you know what I'm talking about, Adam?
Yeah.
Who doesn't know what I'm talking about?
I mean, it's
right?
I don't know, man. It's not something you hear every day. Yeah,
no. It does happen, though.
It does happen.
That exact same thing has happened in the past.
Yeah, but like that high profile with a video and
it's but that honestly I feel condolences to the family of the instructor, but the little girl.
Little girl's the greatest casualty here, in my opinion.
And I agree. If you're gonna be an instructor. From the stories that I've heard on the mainstream media, it sounds like he wasn't, I don't want to say that qualified. I mean, he was qualified, but he wasn't that experienced as an instructor.
Well, and oddly enough, and the reason that we're going to talk about this is because our topic today is how to choose instructors on any professional level. We're going to talk about some firearms related stuff. We're also going to talk about medical stuff and physical fitness and freaking flying, whatever it's going to be, whatever kind of instructor you're going to pick. Scuba. All right. Whatever kind of instructor you're going to be, or you're going to choose. I mean, how are you going to pick them? And there's more to it than just their resume or their experience or anything like that. There's more to it than that. So let's talk about this incident because we have to learn from these kinds of things. If we fail to learn from these kinds of things, then we're just going to be doomed to repeat them. Right. So we've seen these kinds of things in the past. Handing fully automatic weapons to people. It's not about handing them to kids. If you are one of the retards who keeps getting online and saying, this is about handing an Uzi to a child, shut up. All my kids shoot fully automatic weapons, and they're little kids, and they all handle them just fine. Why? Because we don't put a full magazine in there, rack one in the chamber, flip the fun switch, and go, here you go, kids.
After 15 seconds of instruction and one round on semi.
That's the problem, man. You know what I mean? So it's not about handing. I wouldn't hand a fully automatic weapon with a full magazine to anybody, a grown man that I hadn't seen ever shoot a gun before.
Right.
That I hadn't instructed on how to teach it, whether I was a professional instructor or not. So, it's not about handing an Uzi to a child. So get off of that, right? That's the first thing we got to get out of the way.
A lot of people are blaming the parents. It's like, well, and I've compared this.
Do you blame the parents at the Disneyland ride if a kid gets hurt? Is there a certain risk at a Disney ride? Sure, there is, but you're not going to blame the kids for that. And people, that's a calculated risk.
And what I like to compare it to is, okay, well, let's say your 16-year-old kid, your 16-year-old daughter wants to go skydiving, and you find a skydiving school, and presumably the guy that instructs people how to skydive knows how to skydive himself, right?
Right.
You would agree?
You would hope.
Maybe he knows how to do it safely.
Mm-hmm.
And they jump out of the plane, and he's like, "Oh yeah, pull the cord." And she pulls the cord she's supposed to pull, and he just becomes unhooked and falls to his death. And everybody's like, "Oh, those parents are horrible."
Mm-hmm.
It's not. The skydive instructor's negligence that caused that.
This is not about the parents.
No.
And this is not about the kid.
Because one could presume that if you're, and that's the thing, is people presume that he knew what he was doing, and maybe he did know what he was doing.
Boom, there it is.
Maybe he slipped today, or maybe he slipped that day.
But here's the problem: you can't, and that's part of what we're going to talk about today.
Right. I mean, it's like it'd be like if he had her pack the chute. I don't know. So many people are dogging on the parents, and it's like, well,
how can you dog on
the parents? The parents likely don't have that firearms knowledge or background, or maybe they do.
Let's dog on the parents because they're teaching their daughter
they wanted to take her
firearms
because they wanted to let her have a positive experience. What they thought was going to be a positive experience.
Oh, this guy obviously knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
he's a professional
he's
firearms
wearing camo
instructor.
pants, for God's sake. He's got must know what he's doing.
Yeah, it's.
So it's a shame. It's a sad story all the way around. It's sad for the instructor, his family. It's sad, really sad for that little girl.
It's tragic for her, the most, in my opinion.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Because we don't. And
I'm not taking away anything from the instructor and his family or anything like that. But you got a 9-year-old girl that had an accident.
I will totally stand behind my own personal statement of the girl's the greatest casualty here, because we've all dealt with plenty of vets who had to do what you have to do. And that is bad enough. Now you're a 9-year-old girl who just at close quarters distance shot some dude in the face with a fully automatic weapon.
Yeah, they don't even know how many rounds the guy took.
I mean, that's
a lot. That's a massive amount of trauma.
Close contact kind of shooting right there. That's the greatest casualty here because not only is she traumatized, but obviously that's going to affect how she's going to view certain things throughout the rest of her life. The parents, her family, are a great casualty because they have to deal with this, and they have to come to grips with their decisions and with how they're going to handle things now. And they, of course, as you said, are under heat. So we have to, we have to kind of side with them and say, hey, you don't put them under heat here.
Right.
They're no more at negligence or whatever you want to call it than, as you said, someone who let their kid go skydiving. So who's really at fault here? Okay, because it's always somebody's fault. And I'll tell you, the biggest problem that I find in society today, okay, rant mode on, all right? The biggest problem I find in society today is people won't take responsibility for their actions. Take responsibility for action. If something happened, it's somebody's fault. Oh, it wasn't my fault. Oh, it's not your fault. Oh, it's not this person's fault. Oh, it's not our fault. It's somebody's fault that this happened. Whose fault is it?
Who caused that death?
Who caused it? It's that instructor's fault. Flame me. I don't care. Email me, get on our Facebook page and disagree me with you if you want. Call us if you want to disagree with me. I'd love to hear it. All right? But in my opinion, it is that instructor's fault. Is it the organization's fault for not appropriately vetting or instructing that instructor or giving him a certain set of TTPs to follow? Yeah, maybe I would say that they're partly at fault as well. If I as the owner of Independence Training took Matt, one of my instructors, and said, "I just teach whatever the hell you want," and he caused the death of someone in a class because he was
caused my own death
or caused his own death. Yeah, there you go. Caused his own death by doing something stupid in a class. Is that partially my fault if he was not taught how to appropriately avoid that? Absolutely, right. That's partially my fault. But in the end, we're all always responsible for our own safety. So whose fault is it really? It's that guy's fault. All right. And here's why I believe that. When you watch the video, according to the video, and I'm only going off what I've seen here. I was not there, so I can't say this, absolutely or whatever. But just going from what I saw in the video, he does his instruction. She fires one round on semi-automatic.
15 seconds of instruction.
Yeah, she's got about 15 seconds of instruction. She fires one round on semi-automatic. She's not even in an appropriate stance. She's sure as hell not in an appropriate stance for firing full auto. Anyone who's fired full auto from the shoulder knows what I'm talking about. She's not in an appropriate stance, all right? And then he just reaches down and flips the fun switch, and she's got a full magazine. Any good instructor knows any good instructor knows, first of all, we got to give her more instruction on semi-automatic. We got to give her instruction on the fundamentals. We got to give her instruction on safety. We got to give her instruction on how to control the gun, right? Even if this is an experience type shooting, which there's plenty of it out there, and that's what this is, Bullets and Burgers or whatever the place was called, which is now shut down. Even if it was that kind of thing and not necessarily an educational kind of thing, the fact of the matter is that there was still some safety and fundamental training that has to happen, even for experience shooting. I've done experience type training before for people. There's still an amount of, hey, we still have to understand how this thing works and how to be safe with it. And then when it is time to go to the fun switch, it's 2 or 3 rounds in a magazine, so that if things do get out of control, the situation can be handled. You know, we're over, right? We've handled the thing. It's not going to continue to cook off because she won't take her finger off the trigger, right? Instead, she's got at least a dozen rounds in that thing from what it sounded like. Probably a full magazine, which in an Uzi is 32 rounds. And, you know, we don't get to see the rest of the video, but presumably he's reaching down, holding the bottom of the magazine. She starts cooking up.
I didn't see, was he standing beside her?
He's standing to the left. He's standing to the left of her.
So he's not standing where he needs to be.
Immediately to her left.
He's standing immediately to her left, holding the bottom of the magazine. Now, if you have any experience firing Uzis, you'll know that they have a slightly, because of the way the bolt operates, they have a slightly rotational recoil, all right? So it's going to kind of go up to your left, all right, typically. So he's holding on the bottom of the magazine to her left. She starts firing. The stock leaves contact with her shoulder, all right? So everything kind of starts kicking up, kind of, you know, stock's going down, kind of to her right shoulder, muzzle's rising up. He's holding on the bottom of the magazine. Looks like he tries to back away, and at that point basically pulls the muzzle right into his face. So she's shooting it up, recoil's rising up to his face. He's still holding on to the gun as he's trying to back away. It looked like to me 2 people who have no experience shooting an Uzi together. That's exactly what it looked like.
That's like the big thing nowadays is, you know, so many people want to be instructors, and so many people, you know, I've said this before, like I've never met anybody that was like a paper pusher, you know. When they get out, everybody gets out, they want to do the high speed, low drag,
yeah, absolutely,
you know, hard, you know, hitting pipe laying, you know,
right,
blah blah blah,
Jedi Warrior King.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like you gotta vet people. Like I heard you on that show where you guys outed that faker, and you were saying that anytime you meet someone who's a vet, like you don't ask them who are you with, where were you at, because you're curious. You're trying to size them up to see if they're actually legit.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it seems to be going these days. And
kind of sad.
It's definitely sad. So many people want to be instructors, and so many people saw, you know, Travis Costa and, you know,
Travis Costa and Chris Haley.
Yeah, and so many people want to, you know, be that guy with the, you know, the whole costume, and it's just they have no basis, they have no background in that stuff, and here they are teaching kids how to shoot full autos. And
well, here's the thing though, you don't need to have that kind of background to teach that kind of stuff. You don't. But you do need to have some weapons experience, and you do need to have safety experience, and you do need to have training experience, and you do have to have some kind of formal training on how to handle students, how to handle shooters, even if you're just being taught by another instructor. And we'll get into that after our break. I want to talk about that. But before we go on break, I want to talk about this. One of our listeners, who's a friend of ours and also a great listener of ours, is a guy named Tim. And Tim has in my experience with Tim, a lot of experience with fully automatic weapons. All right, he's got ample. All right, let's just leave it at that. He says the age of the shooter is fairly immaterial. What is most important is the shooter's experience level. I wouldn't give a mini Uzi, which is what she was firing, I believe. I don't know if she was shooting a mini Uzi or full Uzi. Either way, it was an Uzi. To a complete novice, no matter the age. Kind of like what I said earlier. Firing one shot on semi is not enough instruction. You know, me saying it, that's one thing. I have a certain level of experience, background, whatever. Tim saying it, you know, just kind of backing us up there on the sense of he's agreeing with what we're saying, and Tim's experience is very, you know, vast when it comes to this kind of shooting. It's really important that people understand we can't focus on the age of the girl. We can't focus on the parents letting her do this. There is somebody whose fault it is. It's that instructor. And I am sad to say that he died. That sucks, man. That is a hard lesson to learn. And I wish that wouldn't have had to happen. I wish that muzzle could have rose and just scared the holy crap out of him, and he could have learned a really important lesson from it and said, whoa, I'm never going to do that again, or hey, maybe I'm not as cut out for this as I thought I was.
Right. The video we see would have been him like that.
Yeah, dodging and being like, holy crap,
It's just a giant lesson learned.
And there's plenty of those kind of videos out there. But there's also situations like this, not just a few years ago, and if someone has the information, feel free to jump on and post it. I don't remember what the exact story was, but a kid at a gun show, I think that was a mini Uzi. His parents basically force him almost to shoot this gun. He shoots it. The muzzle rise kicks right back underneath his chin and basically caps his head. A woman in an indoor shooting range not long ago, not even shooting fully automatic, shooting a 500 Smith & Wesson revolver, which is a very powerful gun. And you see them all the time on YouTube. They'll basically bump fire. There's so much recoil in the handgun, and people don't often have a good enough firing grip, a good two-handed firing grip, that they'll fire, and the recoil from that handgun, because it's so powerful, literally will they'll hold the finger on the trigger again, and that recoil from the handgun will basically fire that trigger again, right? It'll basically compress that trigger again. The gun's not just going off, all right? Their finger on the trigger is causing this problem. It's not following the safety rules, but understand that, without a proper firing control, without a proper firing grip, you can't control the handgun. And there was a gal in an indoor shooting range not long ago. Someone put 2 rounds in the cylinder. She fired one, came back, bump fired the second one, blew her head off. Game over. A gun that size, any instructor worth beans knows that it's one shot only in a gun that a novice shooter has never fired before that is relatively powerful. Shotguns, you see it on shotguns. People load up shotguns with a bunch of rounds. They shoot them, gun flies out of the person's hand, hits the ground, fires again. You know what I mean? It's not the gun just went off. It's a violation of the safety rules. Rule number 5, have control of your firearm at all times. If you're an instructor and you're not teaching your student how to have control of their firearm, then you're not a freaking instructor. You know what I mean? You're just a dude or a chick showing someone how to shoot a gun improperly. And in our profession, there are so many hose monkeys that it's difficult sometimes to wade through the nonsense, So we're going to talk about that when we come back. How do we pick instructors? We're going to touch on the firearms world a little bit because that's what Matt and I know a lot about. We'll talk about the medical world. We'll get into some other things. If I'm going to pick a CrossFit instructor, if I'm going to pick a flight instructor, if I'm going to pick a scuba instructor, if I'm going to pick a yoga instructor, whatever, how do you pick a good professional instructor? All right, you listen to the Arms Room.
Would you like to share your military knowledge and experience with other service members and help them achieve their goals? Hey everybody, it's James from Vets On. You can do just that by becoming a military student enrollment advisor with the University of Phoenix at their Phoenix, Arizona campus. Military student enrollment advisors work with prospective students who've chosen to serve their country just like you. You'll be helping them enroll, choose a degree program, and guide them through their first class. To qualify for this great opportunity, you need a valid DD-214, military ID card from the National Guard or Reserves, a bachelor's degree, or 60 college credits. Military spouses are also eligible with current DoD ID card and a bachelor's degree. If you're looking for a great career while helping fellow military members, then we urge you to contact the University of Phoenix today. Apply now by going to jobs-apollo.com and enter the word Military Enrollment Advisor in the search bar. And don't forget to tell them that Vets On sent you.
Break a 19. How about that bandage? You got some ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strongly about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Hey everyone, it's Adam from Vets On. Are you or someone you know looking for employment? Then look no further than iVetX. iVetX is placing veterans with the right hiring companies. Join their mission in putting veterans in inspiring careers with ensured success. Access their national pipeline of military talent for companies. All veterans are pre-screened for 55 soft skill sets, 800 clarification types, education, experience, salary range, and so much more. iVetX can help you find the perfect job to veteran match. Your skills are based on what's needed for success in that job.
Are you or someone you know looking for a new job or career? The Vets On Media family would like to invite you to the National Career Fair in Phoenix on September 29th from 11 until 2 p.m. This free job fair will be held at the Phoenix Airport Marriott Hotel, located at 1101 North 44th Street, Phoenix. This is your chance to meet some of the top employers in the Phoenix area face-to-face. Get ready to jumpstart your new career at the National Career Fair in Phoenix, September 29th from 11 until 2 p.m. at the Phoenix Marriott Hotel, 1101 North 44th Street, Phoenix. For more information, visit ncfairs.com/Phoenix. Again, that's ncfairs.com/Phoenix.
You're listening to The Arms Room on the Vets On Media Network.
All right, we're back on the arms room, and I've calmed down.
It's okay. Everyone's allowed to rant. I had a CrossFit rant, you know.
All right. So a couple of things. Just now I was looking up a couple of old entries on our one of our independence training blogs. They're both from 2012. One of them is called Dangerous Misinformation, and it's about instructors who spread bullshit. And then there's another one called How to Select a Training Course. And there were several of our instructors, myself, John Pinnix, you guys are familiar with, and two of our instructors who used to work with us, Steve Dorothy and Matt Shazda. Matt's now gone on overseas to do contractor work, and Steve Dorothy actually now works for Davidson Guns, and he's an outside sales rep for him. So they're both still in the industry. Back when we very first started, excuse me, as a training organization, they worked for us for a couple of years, and so they're very, very experienced guys, and so their opinions are on here as well. And basically, all four of us wrote how we choose instructors for any professional level. And then there's also this other one about dangerous misinformation. I'm going to post those on the Arms Room Facebook page. I'm going to post dangerous information right now. So if if you want to read it, you can go to the Arms Room Facebook page. If you want access to them, you can just go to the Journal of a Sheepdog, go back to 2002. It's journalofasheepdog.blogspot.com. And go back to 2012. Sorry, I meant 2012 and 2002. It's April and March, so they're the month after each other. So this one is dangerous misinformation I'm about to post, and the other one, how to select a training course. And it's going to talk about some of the things we're going to talk about here. So if you want to, you just want to read. All right. Let's see. We got a message. Who is it? All right. Oh, Kat says, yeah, you're spot on. Of course we're spot on. We know that. All right.
Thanks, Kat.
Thanks, Kat. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about how to choose an instructor. First of all, let's talk about how to not choose an instructor. And we're going to mention from the firearms side of things. Since that's what I do, it's something that is important to me. So here's how not to choose an instructor. And I hope I don't get beat up by a whole bunch of SEALs in the parking lot after this. And I mean Navy SEALs, not like SEAL pups and sea lions and shit. Just because your instructor was a SEAL or a Ranger or a Green Beret or a
space shuttle door gunner,
Jedi Warrior King, doesn't mean that they're going to make a good instructor or that they even know how to instruct. It does mean that they know a skill and that they're really good at that skill, but they may or may not know how to teach you that skill. So going, just because your instructor is a competitive shooter, a high-level competitive shooter, doesn't necessarily mean that they can teach you how to be a high-level competitive shooter. Just because your instructor, you want to go to a driving instructor, because they're a Indy, Indy 500 race car driver who's a winner, doesn't mean that they can teach you how to be a winner. You guys ever watch the Olympics? I totally don't. But I do know that there are, gymnasts on there, correct?
Yeah.
And I know that there are female gymnasts, right? With male coaches. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Any of those male coaches?
The 96 women's Olympic team for the U.S. had a male coach, and they won the gold, I think.
Those male coaches know a lot about being a female gymnast?
Nope.
How about Sugar Ray Leonard or Mike Tyson's coaches? Were they amazing boxers? No, they weren't. What did they understand? What was important? They knew how to box.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't possess the physical ability to box necessarily, at least at that level, but they understood the mechanics. They understood how to take somebody and turn them into a certain thing. So while they possessed a skill, might have been mediocre, they understood how to take somebody and teach them how to do something great. A lot of times when you look at coaches, a lot of people say those who can do, those who can't coach, right?
Right.
And that's basically it. I mean, let's make no bones about it here, okay? And I'm going to I'm going to lay this out so that everybody understands very clearly where I'm coming from. When I get onto a shooting range, I am really damn good, all right? And I am no bones about it. Matt's seen me shoot. I'm a good shooter.
Yeah, I'll vouch for him.
All right. I'm not the best. There are guys who are listening to the show right now, and women maybe, who are better than me. But I'm really good. I'm fast. I'm good. I understand the tactics. I understand how to run my guns. I can pick up any gun and run it. We had a Tavor in class this weekend. Brand new gun to the guy who was running it. I've only spent a couple days behind a Tavor, yet I can still pick it up and run it like a champ. I understand those kind of mechanics. I live in the world of guns. It is what I do every single day of my life. I'm working on firearms. I'm working with training. I'm doing that all the time, right? Get ready for this. I've never killed anybody. Okay? In fact, I've never fired a shot at anyone in anger. Right? In fact, I didn't do anything cool ever with firearms, all right? Other than just being a dude who owns a lot of guns and has spent his entire life around them and has dedicated the last 6 years of his life to training and shooting and running a gun and understanding the best methods for teaching people how to defend themselves. I'm not a door kicker. I'm not a body slayer. That's not what I do. Now, when I step onto a range and start teaching, sometimes people make that assumption. They ask me things like, where were you deployed? I wasn't. Who'd you serve with? Nobody. You know what I mean?
Nobody cool.
Nobody cool. Nothing cool happened to me. I didn't do anything neat. I didn't go anywhere great.
When I first met you, I was like, oh, what group were you with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask
that's
you
a common
this.
question.
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
What got you into doing
All right,
what it is that you do?
So let's talk about how do we vet instructors, because people often ask me that. Matt's first question he asked me when we met, like, oh, what group are you with? I just figured by the way you carried yourself, by the way you act, by the way that you by the way that you handle things, that you must have been some cool guy. I mean, I am a cool guy, but
that's called subjective.
But that's subjective. So how do you get it? How are you going to vet an instructor if you can't just look at the resume? Because I'm all NRA certified, Department of Public Safety certified, and all that. Yeah, none of those certifications really matter. If you can suffer through 16 to however many hours you need to get through an NRA course, you too can become an NRA certified instructor.
I took a CPR course. Let me correct you real quick.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, being an NRA certified instructor means I can suffer through a class, I can take a written exam at the end, and I can shoot my way out of a paper bag.
It's for insurance purposes, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Basically. I mean, that's really why we became NRA certified. It's the same thing. We became American Red Cross certified. I'm an American Red Cross certified instructor. Guess what the prerequisites for that were? Nothing. There was nothing. I had a written test at the end. That was it. There's no medical background required for that. I just became an instructor because it's something we wanted to add to the business, so that we could, cert people when we were doing, the kind of high-speed, low-drag med classes that Matt teaches for us. So how do you vet somebody then? How do you figure out what somebody's experience level is. The best way to vet an instructor, in my opinion, in my experiences, talk to other people who have trained or learned from them, and then talk to other people who have trained and learned with other instructors and compare notes. As a professional instructor, I still train with other people all the time, from flight instruction to wilderness survival stuff to medical stuff to driving to whatever, right? I mean, I love learning, so I'm always out there constantly learning things. I'm learning from other professional instructors. How do I vet them? Well, I don't just go blindly, I'll tell you that. I get recommendations, and I don't go to their website. Do you think I'm going to put bad reviews on an independence training website? How stupid would that be? The only stuff you're going to find on our website is going to be good stuff. Now, I'm happy to say that we don't really have bad reviews, all right? But if I had any, I'm not going to put them up on the website for everyone to see. I'm going to hide those things or bury them where no one's ever going to find them again, right? But if you go look all over the online, you're only going to find good things about us, and that's great. But my point is that what things are businesses going to put up about themselves? Good things. So don't go to the business. Go to people who've trained with the business and find out, what are these people really about? And then look at the subject matter. Here's the fact. If you want to learn how to run a gun like a champ, and you want to learn how to defend yourself, and you want to learn how to carry a gun as a civilian, and you want to learn about civilian liability, and you want to learn how to be an armed citizen, or you want to learn how to run a gun well for competitive shooting or recreational shooting, or maybe you're kind of lacking some marksmanship manipulation in a law enforcement or military capacity, because we've trained plenty of those guys. You should come to one of our classes. If you're a door kicker who needs to slay bodies in a rapid fashion from a stack at night with Nod, our classes probably aren't for you, because that's not what we teach, right?
So let me ask you this: how important is it for people to look at, you said, like their resume or their accolades? Like. Is that important? I mean, are people going to be like, oh, you just said it right there in your example. If I want to be a door kicker, I want to do this, this, and this. You don't really, but because I'm thinking, if I take a class from a Navy SEAL, that's going to be the best self-defense class,
and that's what most people think.
Or do you go?
A lot of these people, in my experience, that their big bullet point on their resume is I was this cool guy unit. It's like, well, maybe they're kind of compensating for, and this is in the instructor community, and don't get me wrong, like there's definitely some guys that have been there, done that, and can teach well. But there's also a lot of guys who have been there and done that, and they can't teach, but then they pride themselves on the fact that they've been there and done that, and just having gone there and doing that doesn't make you
a good instructor.
A good instructor, right? There was some really, really good medics that I served with, and we'd get to a course and they just couldn't teach. Like they couldn't get basic concepts across to people that, are coming from, where my subject matter is just a foreign world to them. I'm sure it was the same with you. Pick something you did in the military. I'm sure there was people that just couldn't teach that to someone else, right, but they were really good at their jobs.
Right.
I think that's like another big thing to look at. As far as like what's my qualifying thing that I look for, I think that's a subjective, thing to look at. I Google, like when I first started talking, I just independence training reviews, and it was all good stuff, and then I went on YouTube, and companies have stuff out there, good reviews, bad reviews. Look at the forums they're on, and then search for them on those forums, because maybe they're being talked about in topics that they didn't post themselves.
And that's an important thing.
I search independence training on like Arizona shooting, and I find any course where you weren't talking about independence training, or any topic where you weren't talking about independence training. It was some new guy to the forum like, hey, I want to take a carbine course. Where should I go? And they're like, independence training, Glenn, look him up. And I see a lot of that on Arizona shooting. And then I Googled the reviews, and then I started Googling instructor names, and then I went to the website, and then I started looking at these instructors' backgrounds. And that's the other thing, is like Glenn's very upfront about his background on our instructor page. Same with me, same with everybody else that's on there. There's a lot of courses where, there's companies out there that are like that, where they have actual bios about the instructors, and they're not like, oh, you did this and that, where it's just a resume.
And it's the same thing. Even if I was going to go take, let's say I was going to go take a yoga class, okay? Right now, if I go to, I don't know, a gym, and I'm going to go take a yoga class, all right, because I want to learn how to do yoga. And by the way, if you've never done yoga, you got to check it out. All right, some pretty intense stuff. I actually enjoy it. All right.
Yeah.
First time I was like, those for Fergus, and then I did it, and I was like, holy crap, that hurt. You know what I mean? So it's actually pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Let's say I was going to go take a yoga class. How am I going to pick out of the 500 yoga classes in the greater metro area down here? How am I going to pick which yoga class to go to? I'm going to get reviews from other people who've been to yoga classes and find out what kind of yoga do I want to do. Do I want to do hot yoga, which is that weird sweaty crap? Do I want to do yoga with a male instructor? Do I want to do yoga with a female instructor? Do I want to do yoga that's going to be 30 minutes long or an hour long? Do I want to do yoga that has a greater focus on physical fitness, or do I want to do yoga that has a greater focus on relaxation, or do I want to do yoga that has a greater focus on stretching, or do I want to have do yoga that has a greater focus on injury rehabilitation? Those are the kind of things I'm looking for, because not all yoga instructors are created the same. They're all going to have different backgrounds too. Recently, I picked a massage therapist in our town. I got some recommendations from my chiropractor to go see this massage therapist who's having some problems with my back, and so I go to this massage therapist, and it was like, I got recommendations from my chiropractor, and he's like, yeah, she's a really great massage therapist, all this. I didn't really have any clients or hers to call because she was kind of new to the area. I'm like, all right, I'll go off his recommendation. Well, then I show up and I go through a session with her, and she's all about relaxation massage. I don't need relaxation massage. I need like deep injury rehab stuff. Yeah. So for me, it was like it was a total waste. And so, now that wasn't an instructor necessarily. That was more just kind of like another type of recommendation. But my point is,
still, your point of reference was one.
Yeah, my point of reference was one, and that was poor. It was a poor choice, and I wasted $50 or whatever because I didn't. Yeah, it was nice and relaxing, but I didn't get what I.
You didn't want
what
nice
I went there to get. You know what I mean? I wanted something that was going to be deep tissue and
elbows and yeah.
It was going to help my injury. You know what I mean? And so you kind of have to really vet your instructor. You have to figure out, is what they're teaching what I want to learn from? Is a Navy SEAL going to be able to teach me about the responsibilities of carrying a handgun as a civilian if he doesn't carry a handgun as a civilian? If you don't know shit about CCW law, I don't know why we're picking on the SEALs. I think it's because we always pick on the SEALs. All right? Is anybody anywhere, is a cop, is a military guy, is a regular dude or whatever, like my biggest pet peeve is, if you're a concealed weapons instructor, do you carry a concealed weapon? Because if you don't, go home. You shouldn't be here. How dare you teach people how to carry a concealed weapon if you don't carry a concealed weapon? How the hell can you possibly understand the ins and outs of carrying a concealed weapon if you yourself don't do it? You don't study the law. You don't study court cases. You don't do training anywhere other than your state-mandated CCW training, which is a friggin' joke. So if
you probably don't have a lawyer you can call.
Yeah, like
the question.
What do you do that qualifies you? Okay, you're an NRA instructor in the state of Arizona, so you can teach a CCW class. Whoopity-doo. What qualifies you as an instructor? Do you actually know how to teach? Have you taken any adult learning classes? Do you understand how people work? Can you run all different types of guns? Do you carry concealed? Have you carried 5, 10, 6, 10, 15 different ways concealed? So that you understand the ins and outs of each one, or do you just do your way and that's the only way you're ever going to teach anybody? So that's the kind of stuff you're looking at an instructor. Are they teaching subject matter that's important to your life? Is that it? If Matt, as our medical instructor, only came in and taught us TCCC of, step 1, isolate and destroy the enemy.
Yeah, Death Blossom and
yeah, exactly. If all he did was step 1 Death Blossom, well, guess what? The average person that we're teaching in our class,
they don't need that.
They don't need to subdue an enemy. That's not needed. That is step 1 of TCCC, am I correct?
Yep.
But we don't need to teach that. So yeah, we teach TCCC classes. We've totally modified them.
TCCC concepts.
We teach that. That's a better concept for it, right? So is the person now? If we were teaching guys who are going to go overseas,
yeah, I'll teach SWAT med. I'll teach a SWAT team all day.
Then we need to teach them TCCC.
Legit, But soccer mom that just wants to know how to stop some bleeding on her kid after a car accident, I'm not going to be like, Death Blossom,
exactly.
Shoot the other driver, whatever. But it's you gotta. I don't know. It's just there's so much to it, with finding an instructor, and I'm still waiting for the day where someone reviews the course that I've taught, because I search after.
They do.
Every
I hide them
week.
from you.
I knew
I'm
it.
just kidding.
Because they're so awesome.
I don't want you to get a big ego.
Yeah, they're so good.
All right, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to keep talking about this ranting. Today's about a rant. I killed shit this morning, so I'm all fired up about being a man, and so yeah, we're gonna keep ranting today about instructors. All right, it's more like a ranting show. It's a holiday anyway. Let's do this. All right, you're listening to the Arms Room.
Would you like to share your military knowledge and experience with other service members and help them achieve their goals? Hey everybody, it's James from Vets On. You can do just that by becoming a military student enrollment advisor with the University of Phoenix at their Phoenix, Arizona campus. Military student enrollment advisors work with prospective students who've chosen to serve their country just like you. You'll be helping them enroll, choose a degree program, and guide them through their first class. To qualify for this great opportunity, you need a valid DD-214, military ID card from the National Guard or Reserves, a bachelor's degree, or 60 college credits. Military spouses are also eligible with current DoD ID card and a bachelor's degree. If you're looking for a great career while helping fellow military members, then we urge you to contact the University of Phoenix today. Apply now by going to jobs-apollo.com and enter the word Military Enrollment Advisor in the search bar. And don't forget to tell them that Vets On sent you. Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Breaker, 19. How about that bandit? You got them ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Do you need an extra push to start your day? Well, then tune in to Addie's Radio. Addie's Radio is a show that explores tough questions in an open and fun forum. The program also engages hard-hitting issues concerning veterans' physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. This show airs every Tuesday from 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Vets On Media Network. Addie's Radio is hosted by Jesse James, a combat veteran of Afghanistan, so he knows the problems that veterans face every day. Jesse provides you guidance each and every week to be a better you. So tune into yourself each week by tuning into Addie's Radio. Go to vetsonmedia.com for show details.
You're listening to The Arms Room on the Vets On Media Network.
We're back. I think Glenn's mic has been muted for making irresponsible comments to the guy that runs the show.
Thank you, Matthew.
You're quite welcome.
That's funny. All right. Thanks for turning my mic back on. So actually, I want to
Nobody
talk.
wants to point at the a-hole.
What? Is there someone behind me? All right. So real quick, Adam just mentioned something during the break. I want to talk about the Heroes Run. Can you tell us more about that? Like a minute.
Yeah. The 9/11 Heroes Run happens all over. There's a lot of different cities that are putting it on. But if you're in the Phoenix metropolitan area, this Saturday, the 9/11 Heroes Run is going to be down at the Tempe Beach Park. To register, go to www.911heroesrun.org.
And I wish I could participate in that. And I'm going to be teaching a class, unfortunately, but otherwise I would love to do it. So please, if you have the opportunity, please go down there and check that. It's 5K. You can quickly walk that. All right, so no big deal. So I want to talk a little bit more now. We've ranted a little bit about vetting people and just getting general background information about them. Look at the organization. Are they out there? We were kind of talking about like our organization, Independence Training. Vets on Media is another great example, man. Vets on Media is more and more that all the vets organizations are aware of Vets on Media now.
Job fairs, conferences.
They're all over the place. Vets on Media is growing because they're everywhere. So it's like if you want to vet, so to speak, Vets on Media, it's not very hard. If you want to vet Independence Training, it's not very hard, man. We're everywhere. We're Facebook, YouTube, our blogs, our website.
We're on Instagram.
We're on Instagram, for crying out loud.
Hashtag us.
Hashtag it. All right, we're everywhere. All right, and so it's not hard to find us. If you're going to get a flight instructor and you're like, hey, yeah, so you're a flight instructor? Yeah, I'm a flight instructor. So who do you? Oh, well, I've worked for these guys. I've worked for that. Oh, you worked for, I don't know,
Boeing,
Embry-Riddle, and Boeing, whoever. Why don't you call them up and say, hey, what do you think about this guy? Oh, we fired him because he
crashed one of our planes.
Yeah, he crashed a plane, or he was drunk on the job or something like that. That's probably not the instructor you want to go with, because someone who's trying to sell you a service may or may not be honest about.
They're not going to be honest,
especially if it's a bad thing.
Right.
They're not going to be honest if like, oh, I got fired because I was drunk on the job or something. They're not going to tell you, oh, I was drunk on the job. They're going to say, oh yeah, we just had miscommunication or something. Find out. You used to work for Embry-Riddle. That's cool. Even when people say like, I was in the military, that's cool. So what happened? What'd you do? Where'd you go? Like, I want to know that same stuff too. Not because I'm like, oh, I'm going to compare to you because dude, I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do anything cool. So like, let's not like, have a hot dog measuring contest as Matt would say. But let's figure out whether or not you're actually legitimate. You know what I mean? You got to read this new article that Matt wrote with a picture of a hot dog after he's talking about all the male genitalia he's seen.
Yeah, talking about like something like is like lessons learned as a combat medic, and one of them was like if there's one thing soldiers like more than anything, it's sticking their wieners in places that wieners shouldn't be, or places and people that wieners shouldn't be stuck. And one of them, like, I did this huge like paragraph, and then
it's
at
just
the bottom,
funny article
this,
that Matt's
this
writing.
whole show just went south. Just like,
no, just right.
No. So this article has to have pictures, correct?
Oh God.
And so I just found a picture of like a moldy hot dog, and then at the bottom I was just like, close enough.
Yeah, so you'll be able to find this article on Iron Mike Magazine very shortly. So keep an eye out for that. So Brian, if you're listening, this article's coming your way, my friend. So it's more than just looking at someone's resume. You asked me that. Do I just look at their resume? Do I look at their credentials? It's more than that.
Yeah.
Great that they're
yeah, I mean we have blogs, we have Instagram, we have YouTube,
But it's more than that.
Watch the YouTube videos.
Yeah.
What are we showing? Are we showing us running through a course in high def with some dramatic slow-mo and heavy downlighting?
Are we tricked out in full kit,
right. No,
reaching Bridge Bangler and all this kind of? I mean, are we doing that?
It's us showing people stuff. It's courses, us running through the courses ourselves, along with some other people.
It's us teaching people about the stuff that we teach.
Anybody can make a blog. Anybody can Instagram.
Anybody can have a YouTube channel.
Anybody can have a YouTube channel. Well, what's the content of that YouTube channel? What's the content of that Instagram? What's the content of what they talk about? Or what do they talk about on their blogs? Who are their professional affiliations? If I make a training company and I have no affiliations, that's a little different because why don't I have any affiliations? I don't even know how many we have.
A lot.
And you can call any of them up and be like, what do you think about Independence Training?
On our website, we have under About Us, professional affiliations, and there's big names in there. Big names. We were at the E-Angus conference, man. I mean, we had friends there we didn't even know about, as Matt puts on his nice Revision glasses, which, by the way, is one of our affiliations. And if you don't know anything about Revision eyewear, you got to check them out because they're our favorite eyewear.
You can even adjust the nose piece, which is like my big thing with eyewear.
Fantastic.
Shout out.
But I mean, there's guys who they love us because of the organization that we are and because of what we represent, and because of how we do things, and we are straight up and what's the term I'm looking for? Upfront. We are upfront. Forthright with our backgrounds and our information. Do we have high-speed low drag guys on our team? Yeah, we got a Ranger, we got a PJ, we got combat medic, we got an infantry team leader, we got freaking EOD tech, we've got just about everybody. We have some awesome people on our team. You know,
SF truck drivers.
we got SF truck driver. But
Did they teach you how to steer the steering wheel with your beard? No. Oh, I muted.
Now we're all muted. All right.
And the show became silent.
And for our final show, so you know, the point is that regardless of what people did, or where they went, or how experienced they are, or how many flight hours they have, or how many scuba hours they have, or whatever,
Experience helps.
it helps them put something into context. You know.
But if I can go to a handgun course, let's say you were never even in the military, and I go to your handgun course and I see you shoot, I'll be like, okay, this guy might not have been there and done that, but he knows his shit. He knows what he's talking about. I mean, that's a big thing, is being able to back up what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you can back it up with experience, or you can back it up by doing it and showing them.
And the fact of the matter is, you know, what do we mostly focus on? We focus on the application of an armed citizen. That's what we focus on. Now, why do cops and military guys take our classes? We had 2 cops and 2 military guys in our class, active duty guys or active military and law enforcement in our classes this weekend. Why did they choose us, even though we're not teaching door kicking?
Because the training never stops.
Because their training never stops, and because we're teaching stuff that they want to know. We're teaching marksmanship and manipulation and movement.
It's practical.
Yeah.
It's practical
letting
application.
them run through it.
It applies to their life. So this is kind of starting to sound like a long old show pitch for independence training. It's not. That's not what I meant to show.
No, it makes sense though. I mean, you're not gonna teach a bunch of stuff that's not practical. You know, you're not gonna be like, all right, we're gonna do a
so
30
look
mile
at
swim
look at
underwater
what the
and just
instructors are teaching.
Find the facilities where these companies train at. Call the facility up and be like, what do you think about these guys? I'm trying to get some training. Who do you recommend? And they're not affiliated with a company. They just let the company use their training facility. You know, they're under no obligation to be like, oh, they're the greatest. You know, I owe them my firstborn or anything like that. You know, with vetting, it's really hard because you might get a little not starstruck, but you know, you see how people react to some of these guys that are like Travis Costa, you know, like, oh my God, just like so high speed.
Haley's gonna come in here one day and kick your ass.
Yeah, I love.
I'll
Haley.
back you
I
up,
love
dude.
Haley.
But
I think he's a great guy, and I don't know what he does for his skin. I need to know his secret for his like skincare.
Travis, you are a beautiful man.
He has the greatest skin I've ever seen. I used to comment on his YouTube videos all the time, like, what lotion do you use, Travis? No response.
I can't imagine why.
I want to know. The guy's got great skin. But
anyway,
you know, a lot of people get like starstruck by these backgrounds, and I mean, like I said, you know, having been there, none of that helps, but it's not everything. Like the coach of the '96 women's gymnastics team, right. They got gold and they're really good. Was he a dude coach? Was he a 5 foot 310-pound female gymnast?
Nope.
No. Did he know what he was talking about? Yeah. Could he back it up? Well, he's got gold medals to prove.
Right.
You know, same with football coaches. I mean, anything. You know, there's experience helps, but find out more about them. Call the facilities they use. Find other people that have posted reviews. Go on Arizona Shooting. Find someone who said that they went to one of our courses and be like, "What did you not like?" Shoot them a private message. People are more than willing to talk.
Facebook, media, guys. There's so much information on the internet these days. It is impossible to not be able to access information if you live in America. All right, it's easy to find information on anybody. Google is your friend. Find out, what is this person all about? What is this company all about? Now, if you're just going on recommendations of friends, that's great too, because that's how I pick when I'm looking at shooting instructors, for example. I went to a class a couple of weeks ago with a guy named William April, who's a great instructor. I went there because I had several other instructors that I work with. They don't work for our company, but we work with them professionally, and we're affiliated with them. And they said, "Hey, this is the class you want to go to, man. This is a great class. This is a great guy. We've worked with him. We trained with him before. You're going to want to take this class." I went, and they were right. It was a great class, and I learned a lot, and I had a good time. And so I'll go a lot on recommendations of people that I trust. That's important to me. But I also know that those people have a point of reference. They've trained with a lot of people. They've done a lot of things, so they have a certain point of reference. So the idea here is, how do we choose an instructor? Vet them. You don't have to like order public records or anything. You don't have to go that far. But are they teaching something that is going to be applicable to your life. If you're a cop and you want to learn high-risk vehicle takedowns, then you need to go learn from someone who's probably done some high-risk vehicle takedowns. If you need to learn how to get in a stack and breach bang clear, then you need to go learn from someone who's done that kind of stuff. So if they have some context, do they need 10 deployments? No. If they have 1 or 2 deployments, that's enough for them to have a contact. Then you need to get an opportunity to talk to people that have trained with them in the past. What do their students think about them? Is this guy a jackass? Are you not, or gal, are you not going to enjoy training with them? Are they hard? Is it going to be no fun? Because look, learning has to be in some way, shape, or form enjoyable. If it's not, you're not going to learn that well. So, you know, if that learning environment is in some way, shape, or form enjoyable, it's not going to work out for you. So talk to other people who train with them and learn with them. And then you know, maybe finally, talk to them yourself if you can. Call them up on the phone. If you can't email, call, if you can't get a hold of this person, then you don't want to train with them. If they're not ever available to you, then you don't want to train with them. You know, if you can't find them anywhere online, you can't contact them anywhere. They don't have a website. They don't have Facebook. They don't have anything. Look, man, it's 2014. It's time to get online. All right, they don't have that, and there's no way to find pictures of their stuff or proof that they do anything. Then that's probably a good sign that you probably don't want to go with them. So anything to add to that, Matt? We got one more thing to talk about before the end of the show.
Not really.
So if you have questions about this topic, please go on our Arms Room Facebook page and post it.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear it. Matt, there's one more thing we want to talk about. I'll let you take it. We got like a minute. So.
All right, so any disabled vets out there listening, anybody that knows a disabled vet, we want to start throwing some free courses for disabled vets. Just come out, shoot some stuff, learn some stuff. Maybe
we want to have a vets only course.
Right, vets only course. It's going to be, you know, the only people there are going to be veterans for the most part. We've all been there and done that, gone through the same stuff. You know, maybe as you. If there's anybody interested in this, you know, shoot us an email, glenn@independencetraining.com or matt@independencetraining.com. Message us on Facebook. You know, email us through the website, whatever.
Just like we said, we were just done talking about. It's easy to find us. And Glenn is 1 N and Matt 2 T's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can find us. Message me on Facebook if you find me on there. If there's any interest in this, let us know, because it's something we've been talking about and we want to do, and we've tried to hit a couple, you know, groups up that do this kind of stuff, and there's, you know, not really getting back to us. So.
We're trying to do it through some of the non-profs, and it's not working out. They're just not. They're interested. They're really interested, but it's hard to work with them. It's difficult to communicate with them. And we've been trying to put this together for a while now, and we're done working through other people. As usual, you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. So we're going to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
But we have to gauge interest.
You want to come to an IFAC class? You want me to teach you how to throw a crike on someone? You're a disabled vet all day.
But we need, by disabled, we don't mean that you need to have a prosthetic or any walk with a limp or anything like that. If you feel like, you know, this is something you want to do, you just want to come hang out with some other vets, maybe some guys to share some experience. You miss the camaraderie, the same that Matt and I and Adam all miss, the same thing that we miss. If you miss that too, and if you just want to come hang out with us, regardless of the state that you live in, all right, please contact us, because we have to be able to gauge interest on what the interest level is going to be on this.
Yeah.
We'd
love to make it a regular thing, just to, you know, Independence Training Vets Barbecue. And it's just all veterans. We all hang out, cook up some grub, and shoot some rounds.
So Arms Room Facebook page, Independence Training's Facebook page, emails, again, matt@independencetraining.com, 2 T's, Glenn with 1 N @independencetraining.com. Easy to find us. Message either one of us on Facebook.
Yeah, let's get this started.
We really want to get this off the ground, so let us know what's going on. Next week, what are we doing next week, Adam? Holy cow, I got to look up the thing real quick. Next week, we're going to talk about how to test your firearms and ammo before they're needed for self-defense, and why that's so crucial. And we'll give you some of our funny experiences from the training world. I had several this weekend that were pretty hilarious on why it's important to train your stuff, and why it's important to go through training classes or test your stuff, before you're actually going to rely on it to save your life or the life of someone that you care about, or even just, you know, win a competition or something. Until then, stay safe, stay aware, train hard. Matt and I are going to go shoot in the laser shot simulator with Russell Fagan, who was our guest last week. We're going to have a good time.
Be jealous.
Be jealous. You've been listening to The Arms Room.
Young rocket track.
Bob Busking